Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Spodcast. I'm Joe, and with me is Charle. Tonight we're going to be talking about a range of topics, but because of the fact we want to get onto one very important topic, we're going to go through the others as quickly as possible. So, Charle, are you ready for this?
Yep.
The new Charlie Brown movie by 20th Century Fox. It's coming out in 2015, and it's going to be CGI. Thoughts?
Never saw it.
Okay. Yes, there's going to be another set of Star Wars, The Clone Wars, new series of episodes coming around October the 13th. So it should be out nowish. The first couple of episodes should be up. Thoughts?
Die.
Okay. News Corp producing the first preschool sort of education preschool series involving Kate and Min. Involving a small toddler called Kate and Min Min, which is a magic growing bear thing. It's going to be funded mostly by Kickstarter. Thoughts?
Aww.
Okay, and first trailer of DreamWorks' insane new project for putting 12 films into 3.5 years. The trailer is for the movie Croods. Yeah, we're going to go into a bit more detail in this. So, what do you think?
I like the beginning of the trailer where it was just these kind of caveman-like people, and it's the whole we should never leave from the cave, otherwise we'll be in danger, we'll be killed, and one of them of course has to say, well, I'm curious, I want to see what is beyond. But then half the trailer was them in this very colourful world, and it felt like the journey to the centre of the earth, and I was like, okay, lost interest.
Okay, so everything kind of went down after they left the cave then.
Like a very mature film going into great historical detail about that time area and the dangers they probably did face. Then it went to this weird, colourful, lovely world of awesome bugs and animals, and I'm like, okay, completely different movie.
Well, including the opening where it's sort of like, let me tell you the story about Burnt Bear, and then it died.
Okay, fine, it wasn't that mature, but still, it died. That was a funny part.
Yeah.
It was still kind of gruesome, though, the way it was just like, you're dead.
Okay, but yeah, I thought it looked quite interesting. One of the things which I sort of kept on seeing from the posters was the main character. Is she meant to be the wife or girlfriend of the sort of big...
No. The wife of the main dude, she's the one, the dark-haired person that's always carrying around the baby bat. Our main lead is actually his oldest daughter.
Oh.
Who, let's face it, looks like a fully grown adult, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. It's one of those situations where it's kind of like, people seem to be having a thing for daughters rebelling against, particularly in animated films now.
Especially the ginger variety.
Yeah, it's something... We don't want to name any names here, but DreamWorks, you're really not doing your reputation any better for trying to rip off Disney, or Pixar in this case.
I kind of actually like her design in the way she's quite roundish, still very muscular for what her society is, but the really tight dress strapped around her front, it was like, just draw in the eyes.
It is meant to be a kids' movie, right?
Yeah, it was like Wilma Flintstone if she was beefed up on sweets.
Apparently, I think Ryan Reynolds is meant to be making an appearance in this movie as a caveman who's discovered the power of fire and the wheel, or something.
I did read about that. There's one cave person that doesn't show up in the trailer, and that's the one they stumble across after they leave the cave and find him in the middle of all this colourful nonsense. And from his design, he looks younger than our lead lady. I mean, she looks like a fully grown up. He looks like a teenager, but I'm still guessing the whole seems to be the love interest vibe.
So, yes, DreamWorks. It promotes cougars.
Indeed.
Yes. Okay. Now
but it is that...
Yeah, you were saying?
It is that story of... Curiosity isn't a bad thing, but it has consequences. But it's like, we must move on. We must discover stuff. We cannot stay in one location and change. Evolution must happen. We need to change. You got that from a mile away.
Okay, now on to the main topic of the discussion. The most important thing at the New York Comic Con, which happened recently, was well, in our opinion at any rate, was the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic panel, which involved the executive producer, Brian Leonard, the hub vice president, Mike Vogel, who's basically the moderator, story editor and writer, Megan McCarthy, and show director, Jason Thiessen. Is that how you pronounce it, Thiessen? I hope so.
I wouldn't have a clue, but don't worry, you probably offend someone somehow.
Yeah. The things that they discussed. Transformers pony crossover is not going to be happening, although hopefully that does mean that Young Justice pony crossover might still have a chance. They've talked about various techniques when it comes to writing and doing and so on and so forth, because of the fact MLP is episodic. And they've also talked about what time period it's actually in and sort of what level of technology they have. So that was interesting. They've also talked about particular fan contributions. I think the main one that they talked about, despite the fact there's been loads of others, was the idea of the whole Peggycorn Alicorn debate. What Princess Celestia and Luna are. It's like they've written it as Peggycorn and everybody else has been using Alicorn. One of the big things which was mentioned, however, which is important for us, especially in terms of speculation, is a new villain, King Somber. We have no idea what he is, what he does, who's going to voice him. So, yeah, complete random speculation. If you don't like the sound of that, then turn off now. Yes, ideas of who could voice him, I'm going to be putting down either Tim Curry or Patrick Stewart. Oh, come on, it would be awesome to have Patrick Stewart voice an MLP villain. I mean, you already have...
Patrick Stewart, I can understand, but you're really not going to give up on this Tim Curry thing, are you?
Nope. I suppose...
What has he even done lately?
I think he was big villain in 9th Grade Ninja or something.
I thought he did mostly like screenwriting these days.
Nope. Yeah, he's done some voice acting. We haven't even talked about who this person might be. Any ideas?
Well, I doubt they're going to turn around and say King Summer was this character all along, but considering the past 3 awesome villains we've had so far, from his name, they're really going down to mythology. Somber in the actual dictionary means dark, gloomy, or just anyone associated with negative emotion and all that. So he could possibly be a lot of things, actually, but I think it'll be amusing, like he's the Shadow Man. It's literally the Shadow Man from Princess and the Frog ponified. I mean, awesome pony.
Yes. In that case, he could be voiced by Keith David. One of the things which, actually, I think it'd be actually quite cool if he just was a shadow.
No, I mean, what were the changeling? They were kind of mostly shadows since they're just, all blackish. I think they'll try to go different with this character. I mean, if he calls himself King Somber, he's only one hell of an entrance.
Yeah.
Number one rule of being king: big, dramatic entrances.
I'm also maybe what they're going to be. They say he's a villain. They don't necessarily mean he's going to be a serious villain. That might be quite interesting. It might be quite interesting to have a joke villain. Oh, sort of him coming in with with a vaguely silly accent or some vaguely silly voice, just making a complete fool of himself. I am King Somber, and trips over his own cake.
We had a few joke villains here. One of them was like the prissy show pony who was trying to upstage Twilight by knowing more magic, or the awesome Minotaur with Fluttershy and trying to teach her self-confidence.
Yeah.
That was an awesome Minotaur.
Yeah, Iron Will, and I think it was Trixie was the other one. But yes.
Yes, that was the name, Trixie.
I don't know, I kind of like the idea of this sort of meant to be imposing villain, but he just keeps on messing stuff up. Anyway, we have no idea what he might be. So, for all we know, he could be he could be sort of something like Celestial is... It could be actually quite interesting if he's Celestia and Luna's dad. There's Teenage Rebellion for you.
Would be interesting if he was actually husband to Princess Celestia. Just tell they're having a really bad separation.
Dear Princess Celestia, your husband sucks. Twilight Sparkle.
Why isn't she a queen?
What?
She's the literal goddess of this world. She is the sun god, and she took over the moon god when her sister was stuck inside the moon. Other story entirely, but why does she call herself a princess? She's a queen!
Well, people like princesses. They like them a hell of a lot more than they like queens. I mean, despite our queen.
Being a princess sucks! Being a queen is awesome, you get more power, you get more control. Being a princess is terrible, it sucks!
Yeah, Brave did prove that, but yeah, I suppose apart from anything else, a lot of ponies do have memories of a particular queen, Queen Crystalis, if you remember. I don't think Princess Celestia, being a very wise politician, would want to do anything to remind them of that. Possibly.
Well, tough luck, Claire. Your title is Mr., mine is Miss. Doesn't mean anyone's going to associate those two titles with someone else. She either takes the title or she calls herself a god. One or the other.
Dear Her Holiness Celestia.
Yes, I mean, if you can call yourself god, call yourself god. Imagine all the perks that come with it.
Actually, one of the things that I think could be quite interesting is if they actually go. One of the things they are just talking about is they're planning on going into the how the monarchy in Equestria works, and I actually would really like for them to go into Celestia and Luna's family tree. I mean, apart from anything else, they're already fairly how can we put it, unnatural for the pony kind.
Unnatural being the key word, yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to see what sort of, if they've got any kind of weird aunts, if they've got any uncles or aunts, or sort of like, or parents even, who sort of like are like them, only sort of more, if you see what I mean.
I would be curious just to see some more brothers and sisters of the two, because I want to know who is the mother and father of the prince that he's always drooling over, and whose daughter is the one that Twilight Sparkle's brother marries in the season finale.
Princess
They
Candace.
just keep saying that. Yes, they just keep saying, "Oh, that's our nephew, that's our niece." Where's your brother and sister who is in charge of them then?
I don't know. I mean, it could be quite interesting. Maybe it's sort of. I'm not just thinking about who it could possibly be. I mean, maybe it's sort of niece. I don't know. Yeah, I suppose it could be quite interesting to see what kind of stuff they have next for us, because there have been sort of. There's this one fanfic which I have been reading, which is.
You really admitted that on the internet, didn't you? A boy reads fan fiction.
And.
Well, since I'm female, I get away with this because I can read all the slash fiction I want and know I'm back to Ireland. You do it and it's weird.
This isn't slash fiction. This is actually world building stuff, expansion stuff for MLP. It's called Under the Northern Lights. I'm just trying to remember who it's by. But basically, it did a whole lot more in the way of world building of Equestria and the surrounding nations. Like it had, going back to the long discussion we had a while ago about your views on MLP and racism. How he had certain. You couldn't be, if you were Native American, you couldn't be a pony, you had to be a buffalo, or if you're African, you couldn't be a My Little Pony, you had to be a My Little Zebra.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Trying to remember, Under Northern Lights actually did a basic expansion on that. So they had a Scandinavian sort of Viking kingdom ruled by, I think it was King Uktu or something like that, who was basically, and they were all sort of reindeer, and they had this whole sort of very different culture to the ponies in Equestria. There was also mentions of camel sultanites, sort of caliphites and stuff like that, and there was also mention of a kingdom of the Kirin, which could be quite interesting. The Kirin ruled by a Mikado, I mentioned. Also, one of the things which they mentioned about Luna and Celestia is they mentioned the great uncles and great aunts. And they're described as lights, sounds, patterns of magic, and in a black sphere that itch at the brain and made the soul cry. And I'd love to see that interpretation in a children's cartoon.
I like to be Canadian.
Okay, you'd like to be Canadian?
Yeah, then I could be a moose. Moose.
Friendship is magic, eh? And we've just pissed
You
off
will,
Canada.
yes, you will fear the moon with a moose.
Now I'm just wondering what the hell England would be.
I don't know, a deer. We have plenty of deer.
Yeah, maybe we're swans.
Don't say that.
What?
We're going for four-legged creatures here, not birds.
Okay. On the other hand, I did have a theory that the My Little Pony version of India was ruled by Naga, but oh well. Anyway, I think on that note we can end the show here. So
We can easily be bears, or possibly foxes.
maybe. Anyway,
Just the idea of a deer.
yeah. Anyway, I think on that we can end the show here. So it's good night from me, and it's good night from Charle, and to everyone, we will see you all next time. Until then, so we'll see you all next time. Goodbye.
I'm still a moose.